Reverse grids have been a subject for debate for much of the 2020 Formula One season. Amplified by Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton's continued domination at the front of the field, the idea seems to keep coming back, much to the displeasure of Toto Wolff. This past week, Wolff let his thoughts on the idea be known by comparing such an idea to the format tinkering NASCAR has done in their sport for years. He said, "We see racing series that have tried to change formats that have historically been understood by the fans. NASCAR and the chase comes to mind. I don't think we should be messing around." But does Toto have a point? And is F1 playing with fire? Let's take a closer look. Alright, so why is Toto Wolff talking about NASCAR in reference to Formula One making some rule changes and not wanting to go down the NASCAR model? Well, he's got a point here. NASCAR had a ton of format changes after the 2003 season that ultimately affected their ratings. Taking a quick look at that, from 1975 until 2003, NASCAR had the same points format and saw an incredible amount of growth in the 1990s. They were one of the most popular sports and fastest growing sports in America. Ratings were skyrocketing, sponsors were getting involved, and it was an extremely popular sport in North America, especially being the number one type of auto racing in North America. And so much so that by the mid-2000s, you had a lot of Formula One drivers making the jump over. Juan Pablo Montoya, Kimi Räikkönen ran some truck races, big deal. But in 2004, they started tampering with the system. They went from a season-long championship where whoever gets the most points throughout the season wins the title to a more playoff-type format. And over the next 15 years, they would alter that format over and over and over again, partly in part because they had a single driver dominating the sport in Jimmy Johnson, something that Formula One's looking at right now with Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes. One driver, one team dominating NASCAR, they tamper with it. Formula One's thinking about the same thing right now. From 2004, they enter the chase, 10 drivers, 10 races, playoff format. By 2014, they create a proper playoff format altogether. 16 drivers and 10 races. Every 3 races, 4 drivers getting eliminated until you have one race to roll them all for the championship at the season finale. And in 2017, they create stage racing, which means they're breaking up their races into 3 different stages, throwing a green and white checkered flag 2 to 3 times throughout that race and awarding points for winning that stage before someone ultimately wins the race. These type of format changes, along with rule changes, such as not being able to race back to yellow flags, no single file restarts, introducing the lucky dog to get a lap back, the car of tomorrow in 2008, which was very unpopular in NASCAR, pick your lane, the restart, and next year's 2021 possibility of going to a one lug nut tire, which for Formula One fans is no big deal, but for NASCAR it's a huge change. These type of things created a major issue in the ratings for NASCAR. And what I decided to do is look at the Daytona 500 alone, biggest race of the year. And in 2001, they had 150,000 fans attend that race, an 8.4 Nielsen rating. By 2004, they were up to 200,000 people attending that race. That would last for about 4 or 5 years in a row. By 2007, they start seeing a decline, though. 185,000, we're down to 10.1 in the Nielsen ratings from a 10.6 in 2004. 2011, down to an 8.2 Nielsen. 182,000 people attended. 2012, it continues to decline, 8.0 on the Nielsen rating system, 140,000 fans, and after 2012, NASCAR stops taking the attendance at the Daytona 500 because it falls below 100,000, according to multiple reports, and they've been hovering around that 100,000 ever since. On the wide scheme of things, not just looking at the Daytona 500, NASCAR's ratings have been on a steady decline pretty much since the 2007 season. And they've been struggling. They've had a few seasons where they've made some gains again, but overall, the cumulative has been a steady fall from grace for NASCAR. Why is that a big deal for Formula One? Of course, it's a big deal because of sponsorship money. NASCAR, in the early 2000s, every major company in this country and worldwide wanted a part of NASCAR. Now, these teams are struggling to get any team to even stay on for multiple races. And we're seeing some of the biggest names that have been a part of NASCAR for way before I was born, like Miller, the beer company, are leaving NASCAR altogether. Lowe's, that sponsored Jimmy Johnson for 7 championships, left the sport a couple years ago. If Formula One is being smart about it, which Toto Wolff is, they need to understand that making too many format changes can come back to bite them. So how close is F1 to making similar mistakes to what NASCAR has done? And how slippery of a slope is it going from packed crowds to noticeably empty seats and a reduced fan base? I don't believe that any one rule change or format change will put Formula One at risk. However, It is the cumulative effect of making changes that could add up and hurt the sport. And making those mistakes can change things faster than anyone realizes, something that NASCAR found out the hard way. If you like this video, please consider giving me a like and subscribing to my channel. I produce new videos every couple days for Formula One and all things motorsport. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.